So I want to say hi to everybody. Thank you for joining. And for those who are watching the next day on the YouTube, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm here today with the lovely Demetria. And she and I have a very amazing story of how we've virtually met, never physically in person met. So that's fun. That's a fun story. And she is a wonderful human being. We met, I just like was attracted to her energy, that we met on audition Zooms and workshop Zooms. So that was a lot of fun. And now she's taking on a new venture of motivational speaking. She has a hair salon. She's a mom to a beautiful little baby girl. So Demetria, thanks so much for being here with us today. And what do you have? What are you drinking right now or snacking on while we're having this chat? Did she freeze?
Are you there?
Yep.
I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh, but I'm here.
Technical difficulties. Look at me. I'm like zooming in and out.
Yeah, it's
This might be
okay.
a podcast. This might be like a audio version.
And that's fine. Because I'm like, oh no, I don't hear anything anymore.
So, how are you? What are you snacking on anything right now while we're talking?
No, okay, so I'm doing great. Like I was sharing with you earlier, got the baby Bellamy. She's 20 months old, got her down for her nap, then she wanted to wake right back up. And so we just finished dealing with that. And we had pizza. We had pizza. That's my favorite. I love pizza. We had that, what, 2 hours ago? It doesn't even seem like it. I'll probably be hungry again. But that's
Yeah.
what we had.
And she eats. She's eating good.
She is. She's picky though.
Yeah. Yeah. How old is she now? 2?
No, 20 months. She'll be 2 November 28th.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Man, it's gone by so fast. Remember when you had her?
I
Wow.
know. I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
I know. It goes by too fast and we're like so busy that it's hard to really like you take in the moments and you're watching your phone going through everything like, oh my God, they're so cute. And then you're just like what we were saying before we got on the call, we're just so busy with life, you get so caught up and you kind of like stop and turn around and you're like, whoa. A
Yeah.
lot of stuff's happened. A lot of stuff's
Yes.
happened. So did you want to start by telling how we met?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember. I was thinking about the year because I was like, was it 2018 or 2019? But it was a virtual class we took with Shandi Simone and
Yes.
Barbara. Is it Abel?
Abel. Yeah.
Abel, yeah. And it was probably like 15 students virtually, and it was a 2-day class. And I just remember seeing your face, and you seemed so cool. You still are, obviously, but I was like, oh, she's nice. And then I don't remember if you were pregnant then, though.
I was.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and you had your other baby, and I remember on the second day we had to do like a live audition kind of, and I did it, and you said you grabbed my baby's attention. It's very hard to do that, and
Yeah.
it cracked me up. And so yeah, we've stayed connected on Instagram ever since.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You had that great energy and it was something that was very like inviting, right? And like very captivating that I was like, wow, you even got his attention. I'm like she's great. You had that really good pull and you were so great in those workshop rooms that we had because it was a long day. It was like what, 2 days, like 9 to 5 basically almost.
Yeah.
So it was long. But it was great to learn from you because you were just so natural and relaxed and it was very like a friend talking to a friend. So it was like a really good moment of learning for like how you and I are talking right now, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so it was really awesome to see. And that's why like I was messaging you like on Instagram, like, man, you were so great. And like I was drawn to like, I want to talk to her. I want to keep talking to her and pick your brain about how it's been going with the audition process and how we both branched off from those workshops into like auditioning for the same kind of things of like QVC hosts and guest hosts and all that. So that was like a fun time where like we kept kind of like, hey, did you see this post? Did you see this audition? Are you gonna do it? Do you know about it? Like, do you know this person?
Mhm. Have you heard anything back?
Have you heard anything back? And it we did have like, was it like one or two auditions that we ran into each other in the
Uh-huh.
virtual audition rooms?
Yeah, and I remember I
Yeah.
saw you and I was like, you
Yeah.
know,
Like, oh my God, you're here. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, it was great. And I mean, shout out to Sean and Barbara and Nicole, Sean B.
yeah,
Simone, Barbara Abel, and Nicole Sellers, because they are all within the industry, and we've worked with them, and with between you and I and our recommendations of like, yes, work with her, yes, work with him. That's that's how we've met,
yeah,
which has been great. And it's nice to know that they're in the industry and that we've been able to refer to each other and refer them, because then
yeah.
it's like, yes, they're legitimate. Yes, she's
Hmm.
legitimate. And then how we develop, um, is it a trustworthy place? Like your recommendation with Nicole helped me a lot. Like I have the
Hmm.
website, and the way the Style by Patty new business model has rolled out has been a lot with Nicole's coaching.
Hmm.
So I thank you to you for that recommendation and
Oh,
your endorsement of her, because she was a great investment. She really
yeah,
was. I highly
she is
recommend her.
wonderful. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, yeah, so it's I haven't done any auditions or anything in a while. I don't even, maybe the last one was when I ran into you in those audition rooms, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then COVID and everything slowed down so much that it was just like, what's the point of
Hmm.
pushing anything in? A lot of things were already kind of locked down, of like, whoever's the talent that's there is there because of just so much chaos going on. But yeah, that's how we met. And one day we'll meet in person.
Yes, we will.
One day we'll meet in person, and one day will be, our manifestation is like that we're going to be on a panel together somewhere. We're going to be on a stage together on a panel
Yes.
somewhere talking. So however that
Hmm.
pans out, like it'll happen. We'll do it
Yep,
we'll be in person soon.
I believe it.
Yeah. So what made you want to get into the TV hosting? Because from my perspective, you were in it a lot longer than I was. How long had
Well,
you been doing it?
so the hosting I have been doing and speaking since officially 2016, 2017.
Hmm.
um Really, actually, before I have been speaking honestly for years. Not necessarily on my own. I used to be an educator for a hair care company. It's called Moroccan Oil. I was an educator for them, and I traveled the Midwest part of the US, going to different salons and training stylists how to do blowouts and how to sell things, and product knowledge and stuff like that. So I always had my hand in speaking and training and things, even back in like 2014 ish. And then around 2016, 2017, I wanted to branch out on my own. I kept doing hair, which I know we'll get into, but so I started doing that and doing more like corporate training, going into organizations and training on various topics like customer service, employee engagement. Um, Gosh, I can't think of the others, but those were some of them. Team building, I did a lot of that as well, and that was so fun because you can really
Yeah.
let loose and stuff. So, anyways, fast forward. I've always had a big personality, and I've always loved watching TV, and so this idea just came, and I said, I don't want to get into TV hosting. It was kind of like a wild, like kind of out of nowhere, if I'm being honest, thing. Because
Yeah.
I would, watch host, and I used to play around when me and my husband would go on trips, and I would act like a host. And I have a video. It's hilarious. Like we're in Indianapolis one year. It was, I think, our first what 1 year anniversary, wedding anniversary, and we're on this like little boat, and you have to push the boat with your feet. And so we're both doing it, and it's so romantic and fun. And I'm like, reporting live. My name is Demetria. This is my husband, Aaron, and da 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 da. We were just going down this boat. And
Yeah.
so he thinks it's hilarious, but he also sees the potential. So then I started taking classes, and
Ah,
um, I did meet Nicole, and then, of course, our class together, and several others. And I actually just took a teleprompter class recently, which was really cool. So I say all that to say I've been in the speaking world for a while. Television television hosting, haven't gotten there yet. And I still believe it's going to happen, but it's got to be the right timing. So hopefully
yeah.
that answers your question.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, it did. Yeah, because it's not something that I fell into. It was weird because Sean DeSimone had emailed me and said, like, did you ever think about TV hosting? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, there's something for QVC. Send me a tape. And I didn't know how to do it. I went
Hey,
over time. Like talked about like a pair of jeans that he wanted for like Lori Goldstein.
mm,
Sent it, and I said to my husband, like, it was so bad. Like I did it to do it, but I don't know why. And then it turned
mhm,
into, she wants to see you in New York. Can you come up to New York? And I
mm.
got on the train and I'm like reading the copy and I'm just like going over it and over it because I'm thinking I have to be technical. Again, I have absolutely no reference of like what a host on QVC, like, you know what I mean? Like you see it, but you're not really studying it.
Yeah.
Then I get to New York, I go to like in the fashion district, go up to some audition room and Sean's there and I meet him for the first time. And um, I felt like I completely bombed that audition because I was shaking and just like over talking. And then as soon as I start seeing Sean do this, it's like you start to get like in a panic. You're like, oh my God, trying to like fit in the last bits of information. Um, and so after that, like Lori was there and I walk out of the room and I'm just like, yeah, I can go home now. Like I'm like, this was so bad. And then Sean
Oh,
back and was like, Lori loves you. And but you need to be you. Like let go of whatever's holding you back. Like we're gonna give you 10 minutes to redo this and come back. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I gonna, what do I redo? So I'm just thinking, like, okay, be more casual. Like I'm just talking about styling the way I would standing with someone in their closet. And went back in there and then did the audition and and then as soon as it was over and Sean was like, and cut, they were all like, yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, you guys are doing like a pity. Like this poor woman, just like, thank gosh she got it over with. And then Sean called me later, like a day or two later, and was like, she didn't pick you because you didn't have any on camera experience.
mm,
But just know that she loved you so much that if you had on camera experience, it would have been you.
mm. Oh,
So I held on to that, you know. And so then when I saw that he was announcing that he had summer classes and I missed the one, like, you know how they do like winter, they do like a fall and then a spring.
mm-hmm,
So I had
mm-hmm,
missed the fall one. And so then spring 2020, March 13th or March 14th, I was with him on Zoom on a Saturday. And then we
mm,
were both like, man, this whole thing is so crazy, huh? Like, I wonder what's going to happen. And he was like, oh, well, you know, guess I'm locked in my apartment for the next 2 weeks. And he's in New York.
yeah.
Um, and I was like, yeah, well, my kids' school just sent a message that we're going to be at home for 2 weeks. And then little did we know,
It
that's
was
the day the
like
world
three
ended. That's the day
years.
the world stopped.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. My birthday's March 16th. I went to Vegas around that time for the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit. I was one of the coaches. And I get back home, and the day of my birthday, my husband and I were getting ready to go out to dinner, and they shut all the restaurants down for in-room dining. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well,
We'll go out in 2 weeks.
yeah. And
Yeah, we'll go
planning
out
to
in two
years.
weeks. Oh,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, here we are. And then, I mean, that was time also for us to do the workshops, right? Like that gave us
Yeah.
time to like, all right, we're going to sit down now and I'm going to really start studying this stuff and work with Sean and Barbara and Nicole. And so, you know, there's always like a lesson, a good thing that's come out of
Yeah. Yeah,
these crazy
absolutely.
situations, you know? So then so with all of this experience and knowledge that you had, what made you want to like now get into the niche of like being a Christian motivational speaker? Like you went from like doing hair and talking about all this kind of stuff, and then you've drilled down. So how did you get there?
Oh my goodness. So I'll try not to bore you to death, but
No, it's not boring. This is mom. This is you, the woman having a career, and then we'll get into the
yeah,
mom style stuff. But this is you, the person who's like, you know,
yeah,
going forth in your vocation.
yeah. So I joined or accepted Jesus officially into my heart on June 6th, 1996. I was 10 years old. It was during vacation Bible school at my home church in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I was born and raised in the church heavy. My parents are both deacons and deaconesses. And so after I got baptized and everything, I got busy and I was an usher, I was in the choir, I became a Sunday school teacher forever until actually I relocated up to Louisville, Kentucky. And then as soon as I relocated up here, I joined a church because that's just what we do. We had to have a covering. We found one. And so long story short, I've always been an encouraging person and used my spiritual gifts to encourage and help people, inspire people. And it's funny, when I started my speaking career, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an inspirational speaker. I didn't truly want to be a business speaker or someone that talks about business topics and customer service. But people were telling me, you're not going to get paid to speak like on inspiration and about God. Nobody pays for that. So it busted my bubble, I
Yeah.
guess. And so I kept doing the business talks or whatever. And then I think it was 20, what? I wrote this little book. It's a mini book. It's called Thrive, Your 3-Step Guide to Creating Your Fearless and Confident Life. And I wrote it in 2019. It was my first book I wrote. It's small, but it's so powerful. And the reason I bring this up is because this book is an inspirational, encouraging book. It opened doors for me in corporations, and all I did was talk about inspiration, and I was paid. So it was like
See, so it
oh
did
my God.
pay.
Yeah, and these, people were saying I wouldn't get paid, I wouldn't get booked. And my purpose and my gift, God opened the door for it to happen.
Mhm.
So then I said, you know what? I'm going to keep just being me and talking about what I really want to talk about, which is helping people with life and encouragement. And I started seminary school. I'm fast forwarding, March 2020, when the world shut down. I really wanted to study the Bible even more. So I enrolled in a seminary school and got my master's degree in theology and biblical studies in 9 months. Usually 9 months,
Wow.
everybody's carrying a baby. Well, I was
Yeah.
like getting it and got my degree in December. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we couldn't have a graduation, so I couldn't walk.
Oh, you work so
So
hard.
yeah, so literally they mailed us our cap and gown, and we had to take a picture, and they just put our picture on the screen, which sucked. But I say all that to say, fast forward, um, I just have always been a strong person of faith. I love God. He gives all the credit in anything and everything. I give him all that's due to him, because I wouldn't be where I am without him, and that's just who I am. And if I ever felt like I had to hide that with any job, anything, then I just wouldn't accept it, because that's who I am.
That's not, yeah,
Um,
that's you. Yeah.
yeah, so fast forward, I don't even know if you asked this. So now what I'm doing, and I won't skip too far because I know we're going to talk about some other things, is I do go to churches and things and speak and empower and encourage women and men and a whole lot of people. And I absolutely love it. I know earlier you were talking about how it makes you feel when you help people. Well, I feel the same way when someone will email me and say, "Hey, I just love your encouraging messages." Because sometimes when I post, I wonder, like, is anybody really listening? Are you all out there? Is this boring to
Yes.
you? Do you
Yeah.
care? You
Yeah.
know, And then it can be discouraging on my side because I'm like, I don't even know if I want to keep posting, but there's someone that's looking at it, needs it. They may not comment or engage, but they're looking, and you're touching people's lives, whether or not you realize it or not. So that's where I'm at with my life, is fully accepting my calling as a woman in ministry, and going out into the world and telling them who Jesus is and why you should know him.
Yeah. See, and it's good at someone like you. We
Um,
need more people like you out there. And your messages, and I've messaged you sometimes where I've been like, I needed that, like,
yeah.
thanks for that. Like that hits, yes, I needed that at that moment. Sometimes you're just kind of like, let me just like disassociate into Instagram, and then like a message or like a picture you have or something that you've put up just kind of like hits at the right time. And then it's like, okay, I'm okay. It's good. I'm good. And it's just like the right little push in the positive direction of kind of like snap out of it
Yeah.
so you are doing, sometimes you don't see it or you hear it or you feel it, but you are doing good in the world, and like your messaging does get to people. I had someone in marketing tell me, because I was like, oh, I just feel like maybe if I'm posting these inspirational things and family things, and like it's so much content to generate. And I'm not getting any likes, and things aren't moving. What do I do? And she goes, when you feel like no one is watching and you're getting absolutely bored with it, that's when they start noticing. She's like, so you have a long way to go. So when you're completely bored about like doing all this content, that's when all of a sudden it's going to start coming and coming and coming. She's like, it takes a long time, and it's about consistency and all that. But it's like, when do we have the time to be consistent with anything? Like if we try to have we'll try to be consistent with the babies and their sleep schedules, not happening. We try to be consistent with their fooding, not happening. So like to find a consistency in anything is very, very difficult. And I don't know about you, but I feel like if I'm consistent in one thing, I'm kind of like failing or falling short in the others.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, yes, I love what I do and you love what you do, and we're pursuing it like with our full hearts. And then the what it takes so much that you're like, I'll do it today, but can I keep doing this for another 6 or 7 weeks without like a single, like, where are the likes? Where are the, like, hey,
Mhm.
I want to talk to you about this. Like, it's kind of, and that's the other thing too with the marketing person I was speaking to, was like, well, what's the goal here? Like, you want engagement, you want someone on your Instagram, or you want someone on your website? Like, do you want the
Mhm.
inquiry or do you want the like? She's like, which
That's
one do you want? So once you start breaking it down even more, then you start getting more of a strategy in place and like more fine tune of like, okay, what I want is website visits. What I
yeah.
want is like email addresses. So that's been kind of helpful. I mean, I'm still stressed out every time I'm like trying to keep up with what's the best time to post on a Wednesday. But talking to her has kind of helped me focus a little bit more of like, yes, what I want is like the website visits. What I want is like the membership inquiries. For
Yeah.
you, it's like, yes, I want people to say like, hey, we have a talk coming up. Can you come talk to us? Or like, this
Yeah.
panel's coming up. We want to invite you to be on this panel. Like the inquiries is what we want. Um,
Yeah.
so maybe that helps you kind of like be more
Mhm.
inspired when you're putting out all those posts, because it's a lot. It is a lot.
Yes.
I mean, but we can't get away from the fact of like, we were called to something, and like what we're called to is to help people, and that we want to, and we feel good when we hear that someone's day has changed, by a quote you put up, or like I suggested to put a belt on something and it like changed this person's like entire mood and night out, and the selfies they took and everything was so confident that like for me it was like that I've done my job here. Like I'm super
Yeah.
happy with that. So
Yeah.
that's how we know we're in the right spot, and it's just like a long journey to get there. And your book, so you have that book, and the book that I bought from you was like it was like kind of a journal.
Yeah. It's a
Yes.
devotional.
Yes. So I used it a lot, and it got me through a lot of
Because you hurt your
difficult
leg
times.
for a
Yes.
while.
Yes. Because I
Yeah.
broke my foot and I had nowhere to go. So I was like just laid up in the bed and like um it came at the right time. And sometimes like when I would read through like your example and then like a passage, and then I would be like frustrated and like, this doesn't apply to me. Like, oh, like, because you're just going through so much. And then I would write things out, and then I would see like I was like angry. And then I'd ask myself, but like, why are you angry? And it's like, well, look, you broke your foot. You can't move. You can't be the things that you are, because it's something that's happening to you that's out of your control. So then it's
Mm,
like, what your passage and the scripture and then what I wrote was just like reflecting back to me, like, you're mad at something that's out of your control. Like, you're mad at something that, like, it happened, it's done, like, find peace, you know. So then there'd be times when I'd be reading and then writing, and I could see that the reaction or like my writing or the voice of my writing changed, you know. So
mm-hmm.
it's kind of like having those moments of like, you are talking to yourself, but you're kind of like, okay, yeah, so I was angry and that moment passed and I understand why I'm angry. Like, just I walked myself through it with your book. So that was like really special, because I would kind of, you know, after a while you're on your phone and I'm frustrated and my leg hurts. And then I would just like, I always have it beside my bed, just when I have like moments to read a page and then write. So I'd always grab it, and it's still on the side of like right beside my head at bedtime. So like grab it and just be like, read and then start writing something. And then sometimes I felt like when I was writing, I was like answering you, like I was talking to you. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very helpful. So what made you think like, okay, I'm going to do a devotional and like mix in like a conversation, a scripture, and then give the person space to write back? Like, what made you want to do a book in that model?
Um, to be 100% honest with you, I have a lot of books. And if I'm being fully transparent, half the time I don't finish books because one, I just, like you say, the time and being consistent. And
Yeah.
sometimes chapters in these books that I have are so long that the content is great, but it's like, these are long. So it's like,
Like, I don't have time. Who's
and I'll be,
time? What is
and
time?
if I'm on page 10, I'll be like, well, when is this chapter in? So I'll like look through it real quick and I'm like, oh, page 56. Okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was like, when I write this book, I want the chapters to be short but powerful. I
Mhm.
want people to read them that know me and say, oh, it's like I'm just talking to Demetria, especially my hair clients. When they buy my book, they're like, girl, it's like I'm just like talking to you here at home, but I'm
Yeah.
reading. And so I wanted them to just be me, in my voice, in my words, and short and powerful in an area where people can write like what you just read, apply it to yourself, and remind women, at the end, there's usually like a Bible verse or an affirmation. I'm big on those. And I just loved the format, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it. And by the way, the book is called Lessons Learned, A Woman's Devotional for Living a Peaceful and Joyous Life. And it is available if you want to purchase on my website. So it's just demetriagilkey.com or on Amazon. But that's what inspired me to write. And one more thing about this. When I finally chose to publish this book, it took me a while. Why? Because I was worried that people weren't going to buy it. I was nervous. It was like, I'm
Mhm.
really about to put a book out. Like, are people going to buy this? And then, like, when I was with my publisher and we set the price, I'm like, that's expensive. And she was like, no, it's not. And then looking at other people's, theirs is even higher than mine. But I was like, nobody's going to buy this. And people bought it.
Mhm.
And I get messages from people like what you said, they were going through something, divorce or whatever, and it really helped them. So I'm already in the process of working on another, like at least getting the outline of something new. But it's always wonderful to get positive feedback from people like you that read it, because it's encouraging for me that, hey, you're a good writer. People like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly what your clients at the salon said. Like, it's like I'm talking to you, and I don't even know you in person like that. And I got the book and I got that feeling from you. So that's
Yeah.
how like you should know that that's how powerful you are, and like your energy and everything about you is, you're very authentic. Like talking to you is like talking to the book. Like I read a book and it sounds like you, and we're
Mm.
talking and it's you. So like you
Yeah.
are authentic, and you are being helpful and like inspiring and supportive, and so you are on the right path with that. And these are the type of things that um it's nice for people to have. And sometimes you're kind of, so like what we've been talking about before, no time, no time. But if you make the time and turn around and just like read a page and then like, well, yeah, let me just write a few sentences in reaction to this thing, you've kind of like broken away from all the same routine stuff and given yourself something back a little bit,
Hmm. Hmm.
interacting with your book like that. So that's very special. And I'm glad, like, keep doing it, like I'll be happy to see the next one, and I'll put all the information in the follow-up email with like the YouTube link for everybody to rewatch, so they can have that information for you. So while you have all this going on, when did you open the salon?
Oh gosh. So let's be honest here. Okay, I graduated from well, my bachelor's 2008. Then recession hit. That was a hot mess. And so I always wanted to go to hair school, but I didn't. That's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
But went to Paul Mitchell, the school, Louisville, here in Kentucky. Graduated in 2012. Got my apprenticeship and master's license process about a year later. Always knew I was going to have my own. So technically, I started in 2014. It was called Hair by Demi B. So my maiden name is Brand, Brand.
Mhm.
So a nickname of mine is Demi. So I just called Hair by Demi B, specializing in naturally curly hair because I have a lot of experience in that through training and all kinds of stuff. So I took a big job, thought I was going to do that full time, turned around like months later, came back and renamed it Curly by Nature. So it was Curly by Nature for a while because if you're born with curly hair, it's by nature because that's how you came out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, had that, and then I closed it in 2019, right before COVID hit. So it was
Oof.
perfect timing. And then got pregnant 2021, and I was like, I'm not going back into the salon. I got my baby. And
Yeah.
so 2023, I finally reopened and I named it yet again. This time it's called Lush by Demetria. Love your silky hair. So I'm still specializing in curly hair, but I'm really good at straightening and smoothing any type of texture. I don't care how tight your curl pattern is, like I can get it together. And I can still give curly cuts and all of those things too. So to answer your question, I have been a salon suite owner since 2014. But it's been a journey, but so I've been around for a while.
Yeah. And so when you opened back up after COVID, was that like, were people happy to like, oh, thank God you're back in this?
Yes, and they
Yeah.
were. I got a lot of clients from years that are still with me, lost some, which I expected.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. Like some of the people that came back, they're like, because you left, I ended up going to such and such salon and my hair, it looked a mess. I'm so glad you're back. And they would always tell me because you left. And I'm just like, well, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I'm here now. You're here. We're here. We're gonna like move forward now. Like I don't feel like
Yeah.
you cheated on me. Like,
Yeah.
but that's good. See your impact with people. It's like, oh, thank goodness you're back, and now you have your
Hmm.
salon. And so do you like? How does all? So you have these two careers, and then how's that impacting you as a mom? Like, what have you seen?
It's a
What has it
lot.
been like? How does it feel?
It feels good though because when I was pregnant and my labor and everything was the hardest thing I've ever done. And so I said after I had my baby Bellamy that I want to show her that women, we are strong and we can do multiple things. We do multiple things, whether
Yeah.
we sign up for it or not.
Oh yeah.
Um, and we are amazing. And you can go after whatever dream you want, no matter how old you are. So it's impacted me positively in a lot of ways. And of course, it's great being an entrepreneur and, a businesswoman and showing her that, all things are possible if you just believe in yourself, you work hard. And hey, if you make a mistake or if you fail at something, you can try something else. You don't have to, wallow in that. You learn from it and then you move forward with something else and you can evolve. I think for me too, I had my mind completely set on TV hosting, TV hosting, TV hosting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say that if I were given an opportunity that I wouldn't take it, but I also know that I'm I am still Demetria without TV hosting. I'm still amazing without that title.
Yeah.
So I can still evolve and start becoming passionate about something completely different too.
Yeah. And auditioning and all that stuff, I think has only made us more confident in ourselves. And even if we go on to do things that have nothing to do with like TV hosting, us like in conversation, having presence in a room.
Mhm.
I think with what we've trained in and what we've worked at may not have been like in front of the camera at QVC, but it's going to translate into everything that we do, that we can be in a room and command attention and like,
Mhm.
lead conversation and lead people to like listen to what we're saying and how we want to help them. Like those tools, um,
Mhm.
you know, we didn't get to be on the QVC stage or like down at HSN, but I think it's been a really for you, especially because you're doing this full time of like the speaking, that it's just like been a huge benefit, like
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to be, QVC thing. I mean, if the opportunity comes, sure, of course, like there's always room to do an audition and see what happens. But it's a big tool that we have now and that you have, and you're using it to your full potential, which is like a really good thing, like what didn't work here, there's always a lesson that you take away from it. So that's really good. So
Yeah.
so you got the salon and you're working on these things, and then out of all of that, what would you say is your personal style?
Oh goodness. So it depends.
Yeah.
It
It's like all
depends.
of these things. Wait a minute. What do you wear?
Yeah. Okay. So, and I had to write this down because it really depends. So, I love jumpsuits for one
Yeah.
thing. Oh, I love jumpsuits. If you look in my closet, it's so many of them. And I don't know why, I just feel good in them. The only thing I wish jumpsuits, the zipper in the back, you got to pretty much take all your clothes off to go to the bathroom. That's the
Yes.
only thing.
Yes.
But I still love them. I don't care. I still buy them. And I just feel good in them. I feel confident. I feel amazing. But then I want to be comfy too, and I feel comfy in those, depending on who makes it and stuff like that. Um, if you were to ask me this question years ago, I would answer differently though, because
Yeah.
I used to like wearing chunky heels with a lot of my stuff. Now I'm just like, oh, let me find like some really cute sandals that have some jewels on them or something because I'm flat-footed and mama is tired.
Yeah.
So it really depends, but I love me a good jumpsuit. I also love sequins depending on where I'm going and if I'm at like homecoming or something like that.
Yeah. So then are you wearing the sequins when you're doing your Christian speaking, like when you're at churches? You're sequenced out to talk about the Lord.
You know, right? No, okay, so it's funny you asked that too, because generally when I do speaking engagements at churches, I dress in dresses, but I think I'm going to start changing it up and doing some more if I find some more cute jumpsuits. Not because I can't show leg or anything. And I'm not your traditional woman in ministry either. Like a lot of times when people think of women in ministry, depending on the denomination, they think of long robe, black robes and all this stuff. That's not me. Um, and it's okay. I'm reaching people who God is calling me to reach. I'm reaching the people that have tattoos and the people that are just different. I'm
Yeah.
reaching everybody. And so I'm going to dress how I feel comfortable, still full of taste and everything. But I think I'm going to start doing jumpsuits. But to answer your question right now, dresses.
Yeah. So then what you mentioned like certain brands that have certain jumpsuits are the ones that you like. So which ones do you keep going back to? Or which ones are you like when they come out with a new jumpsuit, you're like, oh yes.
Yeah.
Which brands are
So,
those?
believe it or not, a lot of my jumpsuits, the brand I love is Calvin Klein. Yeah. When I
Mhm.
go to Dillard's, and I love Dillard's more than a whole lot of stores we have here. They always have some good sales, but I don't know if Calvin Klein, I'm not a fashion designer, so you may know this more than me, but I don't know if their stuff is just made for curvy women or what. Because when I get in it, like if I'm in a size 16, I'll be like, I look at it on the hanger, but I'm like, I can't fit that. But then when I get in it, I'm like, oh, I got in it.
Yeah.
It's like, is it
Like,
really a
oh, I'm
16?
keeping this. Price is not an issue here. I'm keeping it. Like, no, no, no.
Look like it's Calvin
Interesting.
Klein.
I'll have to do some research into Calvin Klein. That's interesting, but that's really good to know.
Yeah, it's like, is Calvin Klein like supposed to be for the plus size or the big booty girls or what?
I don't know because that's such an old school brand that it's tough for those kind of brands sometimes to come around to plus size. Um,
Yeah.
but that's interesting. I'll have to do a deep dive on that because it
Yeah.
might be that they have been one of the brands has been doing that for a long time. If they fit so well on you. And so my
Yeah.
daughter was asking me about like she's starting to ask about like bras and all that stuff. And she's like, what should I like
Oh,
bralettes and all that? And she goes, what was the brand when you were growing up? And I'm like, to be honest, Calvin Klein. Like you kind of started off with
yeah.
like Calvin Klein. Um, so it seems like the brand is like a long history of brand integrity and like having good quality and stuff. But I am gonna look up the stuff about like the plus size. So do
Yeah.
they besides jumpsuits, what else they just have everything else in plus size, like pants and shirts and
They
dresses?
have dresses. I have some beautiful dresses from them in beautiful colors, and the material is great quality. So
Mhm.
it's not cheap or anything. You could just tell it's good quality material. And I'm trying to remember the other brands I have in there. I have a lot of sequins too, but Dillard's is like one of my go-to places now since I've had a baby. If I don't have time to shop, I go on Amazon and I'll type in like plus size dresses and I'll order two or three different styles, and then the ones that don't work, I just send those back and I keep the one that I really like. And I've had some good success with that too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. How do you like the the return process with Amazon?
It's been easy for me. I literally just go in the UPS store and throw it on the counter and give them my code, and they're like, okay.
Oh, okay. Because what I don't know why I'm not doing that. Maybe because I don't know. But I go to Whole Foods to do the return.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you could do that and it's for free, but then you have to like stand in a line and then like you find a drop box and then you have to print out a sticker, you put it on the bag and then you put it in this drop box. But if you have many returns, then you're like in front of this thing
Oh,
printing out stickers and
oh
like
no.
bagging
Oh,
things. Yeah, so it's like what you gain in not spending or like the money for shipping or whatever, like you lose in time. So like
yeah.
I've always
I
wondered how
didn't
people are
know
doing
to
it.
do that. Yeah, I literally just go to UPS, hand them the code, and it's like 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm
Huh.
gonna have to start doing that. I'm gonna have to start pushing myself to a UPS store and just getting
Yes.
it over with. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been a pain. Um, so that's good to know about the brands. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are doing at the salon all day, you're just like, or you're in like sneakers flat
Oh,
shoes for the remainder of the day.
leggings, these ugly granny, I shouldn't say that. They're not pretty. They're these old school thick um shoes for comfort and support. And right now, actually, I'm having some foot issues because I hurt my foot. I don't know how I did it a couple weeks ago. My husband says you have plantar fasciitis or whatever you call it.
Oh my God, my
So
husband uses that all the time. Like they
it's
say that he says it all the time. And it could be like you're just have a lot of like stress.
yeah,
You gotta check that out.
I know, I
Yeah, check
know.
it out when you have time, if you know when that is.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, in the salon, I'm comfy, nice overstretched shirt. leggings, those shoes, and then I wear an apron too, so like nothing gets like color on me or something.
Yeah. So what are you wearing like in your off time when you're off from like the speaking and the salon and you're gonna do like a day out? What do you wear?
Day out, okay. I like, well, right now it's summery, so right now I do summer dresses, comfy stuff, sandals, cute stuff like that. I don't wear jeans because, to be honest, I need to lose some weight. So a lot of my jeans don't fit like I want since I've had a baby.
Yeah.
So I need to lose some weight. So cute dresses, um oh, jumpsuits. I have some like casual jumpsuits, like tube top jumpsuits, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, you can always, what I say when clients say to me like, "Oh, I got to lose weight before I get into the thing," is that you if you're on that path of the goal, right? You get on the path and then you lose the weight, but what you're gonna do is treat yourself and get new jeans.
Yes, that's what I
So
did.
what you can do
Yeah.
is, keep working towards being not so much about losing weight, but being like healthy, and it helps you be more active and your body doesn't hurt as much and all that stuff. But then you can get the jeans for you right now, like where you are right now, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and there's like, and I've seen like the evolution of jeans because I'm typically not a fan. Um, but I've seen that thankfully, and I posted this last week or whatever about like mom jeans, and like the cuts are back in a certain way where it's like, thank God, like they can be high waisted now. We can like hide where like our little baby pouch was, and like we can still look modern, and we can still,
Yeah.
dress it up or down. So I would highly recommend maybe looking into some new jeans. There's many forgiving types out there instead of putting yourself in a position of like, you're setting yourself up for expectation of like, well, when I lose weight, I'll do this, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, I'm going to do this now and I'm going to treat myself now, and I am where I am now, and where I'll be in a year from now, who knows? But right now I'm going to treat myself to like having like jeans or like, things that you were putting off. You can still
Hmm.
put them on for where you are today.
Yeah.
Because then that helps
I
you, like
agree.
you're treating yourself, you're taking care of yourself. It's the thing that you don't have to put off anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's a good
So
point.
that's how I always encourage clients, because it's funny. I've had a client who was like, "Oh, when I do this," and I'm like, "But this thing's been here for 10 years now, so no more. I don't want it. We're not
Yeah.
talking about this anymore. Like, what are you going to do when you lose the weight? You treat yourself, because you should treat yourself. You work really hard when you working out and watching what you're eating and all that kind of stuff. You're exhausted and tired. So when you do reach that goal, you want to treat yourself. So,
Hmm.
I'm not saying don't skip the hard work. I'm just saying you can do the hard work and get the jeans now. So then
Yeah,
you got
that's
like both
true.
of them. So as we wrap up here, what kind of advice do you have? Because you're a first time mom. So what has
Hmm.
it been like for you, seeing it from your perspective? Like, I got two, there's people, members that have like 4 kids, 3 kids. So what has it been like for you seeing all of this for the first time? How like the what moms take on, and what's your perspective on that?
Yeah. So one thing, well, first thing I would say to any of the moms on the or that's going to be listening to this, to remind yourself that you are a great mother, you're a great woman, and sometimes I have to remind myself of those things a lot. And to give yourself a pat on the back and congratulate yourself every week if you have to, that you got through it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
second, yeah, I would say, um, don't forget your me time. And for me, like, I had a lot of guilt in, even though I'm a hairstylist, taking care of my hair and going and getting my hair done
Hmm.
by my friends that are stylists, or going and getting my nails done,
Yep.
or I need to, but I have, but booking a massage every once in a while. There are things that we can do, and even non-monetary. Like for me, I love taking hot Epsom salt baths. So that's something part of self-care, and
Hmm.
remembering to do those things, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's what people have told me so much. But I used to have so much guilt with it. I wouldn't go do those things because I wanted to always be home with my baby. Not that, I didn't trust anybody else with her, but it's just like I'm super attached to her. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting better. And I actually just took a trip to a conference 2 weeks ago, 6 hours away in Birmingham. And when I first pulled out of my driveway, I was so upset when I
Yeah.
left her. But I videoed her every single day. We sang together on a little video call, and I knew she was in great hands. And I was so proud of myself when I came back. And it was good for both of us. I needed to, you know, take myself out to eat when I was there and eat Ruth's Chris for a night and
Yeah.
meet people and this, that, and the other, and just be free for a little bit. And so making sure that you take care of you, and finally pursuing your dreams and slash evolving and trying new things, because I think sometimes if something doesn't work out, we get discouraged and we just kind of can go down this rabbit hole of, oh, I'm just not this, or I can't do anything right. We start going down these negative thoughts and things, and that's just not true. So even if you fail at something, you can always fail forward and learn lessons and try new things and pursue your dreams. And it's never too late to do that, to go back to school, to start a business, to pursue something you've always had a passion or interest in, because we all know that life is super short, and you should definitely keep living your life and being a fabulous woman and a mother.
Yes. You're going to be on my next Transformation Tuesday post. It'll be like this quote that you said will be, will be there for encouragement, because it's true. And I'm glad that you are seeing it as a first time mom. Just so many aspects to it. And, sometimes like when you're a first time mom, there's a lot of things people don't tell you. Right. And then you learn these things the hard way of like, oh my God, I did this. I'm a bad mom, a bad mom. And you have to be like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. She's okay. We're
Yeah.
okay. And you feel guilty, and all those things. And sometimes you don't really hear that other moms aren't sharing. I mean, I'm open book, willing to share, like, today, not crazy about my toddler. Not a fan. Like, not a fan. His tantrums are like out of this world. And I think with my daughter, I felt really guilty having feelings like that. But it's like, these are normal feelings because I was a person before I was a mom. And like, people have reactions and feelings, and so it is when you become a mom, then like what you and I talked about before, like societal stuff is like, well, you're a mom now, so this is what you wanted, and like you shouldn't feel like this, and you should feel, they don't stay like this forever. So, when they're all grown up, they don't want to be around you. Like there's all these things that are just put in front of you of like feeling guilty for the feelings that you have, of like you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you do love them. Like this is not in question. It's just like, it's such a balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a first time mom, when you're seeing it from the outside, you're like, am I, I shouldn't be feeling like this. Like, this is bad. And then once you come into the fold with, like, with all of us, which is why I love this group so much, it's kind of like, nope, you're not a bad mom. You're just a human being who has the right to have feelings. You have the right to feel overwhelmed. You have the right to not be a fan of your baby right now because no one wants like a screaming kid. Like, this is okay, because no one's questioning how much you love them and like that you would do anything for them, and they're healthy, they're clean, they're fed, they're warm, they're in a safe place. That's all because of you. And sometimes it's just super hard. Sometimes it's hard. And like, we do have to say it to one another, especially amongst moms, like, you're okay. You're doing okay. She's okay. You're okay. They're okay. Like, and tomorrow's
Yep.
a new day to like go at it again. One of like a pediatrician that we had when Pippa was really small, she had 4 kids, and I
My
walked in with her and I was like a mess. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing this. She has like a rash. She has this, she has that. And she looks at me and she's like, but you put her to bed every night. She wakes up the next day, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, then you won. You won. That's it. That's all we're looking for, is that they're healthy from one day to the next. The rash, the like Tylenol, you just put cream on
Yeah.
the rash, Tylenol for the fever. She's fine. It's okay. And so it's kind of like
Oh,
when you hear a doctor say that, you're like, okay, so I guess
yep.
all
I
right. I'm
remember
good.
what Bellamy, I would say, I don't want her to cry like all the time. She goes, she's breathing when she's crying, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm just like, okay.
I know. But it's so hard because you're as a mom, you're like your heart is just like coming out of your chest because you don't want them to feel pain, sadness, hungry, cold, tired, wet, whatever. And then you can't stop all of that from happening for
Mm-hmm.
them. And you can't stop your feelings about it either. Like they're natural and normal. And you're walking yourself through the feelings and that you're not um doubling down on it. Like my therapist I've said to her before, like, I don't know, like, oh man, I suck at being a mom. I'm being a really bad mom. Am I a bad mom? And she's like, bad moms aren't in therapy asking if they're bad moms.
So
So
true. So
if
true.
that helps, she's like, you're not, because good moms are the ones like you who are like, oh my God, I'm bad, and crying. She's like, no, you're not,
Mhm.
because the
It's
bad ones
okay.
don't
Yeah.
even think about it.
Mm-mm.
So that helped me. It made me laugh, and at the same time was like, yeah, I guess so. um because it's tough, and then while you're trying through all of that to find a time of like find we're like, I
Mhm.
can, oh my God, I love this jumpsuit, like and have the time that you discovered a jumpsuit and trying it on and like having fun with
Mhm.
that becomes just so
Mhm.
much more precious. Of
Mhm.
like, like a little bit of me is back there. Like a little bit of me
Mhm.
is in this jumpsuit and having this time at Dillard's by myself for like an hour. Um,
Yeah.
because sometimes you can even feel guilty about having that time.
Yeah.
So while you're having it, have the time at Dillard's, enjoy the jumpsuit, get the jumpsuit. And then
Mhm.
you're able to, like, when you're wearing that when you're speaking or you're out or you're at meetings and dinners, it's just something that keeps you like motivated and like helps your self-confidence, and it makes you feel like just a little bit more a sense of me, a sense of you.
Mhm.
So it's like out of all the stuff that we're swimming in, sometimes it's you've got to like find those little spots of like, this is me, this is who I am a good mom, I am a good woman, I am working hard at what I'm doing, because we don't give ourselves credit a lot. um
Mhm.
which we need to more, because we are where we are because we're very strong, we've gotten all the way here and we want to do more. So that's also
Mhm.
really important that we are still very driven. We've had
Mhm.
sidetracked, but we're still very much like, no, I do want more, and I do want more for me as a person, and then for me as a wife and a mother. So it's
Mhm.
good, we take it on, but like um we're not getting deterred, you know
Yeah.
so that's important too. And through clothes, sometimes it's the biggest treat, like when you find that jumpsuit, or like I find the good pair of jeans
Mhm.
where you're like, today it's me, I don't care what happens, like I'm fitting in this outfit and I wore the thing, and then that's it, I don't care what happens today. So you just got to find like the little moments. So that's good what you were
Mhm.
sharing about the Calvin Klein thing, because I am going to Google that now. That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Demetria, for spending time with us tonight.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it. And you are a force, and I'm so glad to be in your world. And I know one day we're going to meet each other in person, and then we can like wave at Instagram and like, haha, we finally met in person.
I know.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much. And so I will be sending out links for your book and information to your Instagram and all that stuff so that they can find you. And to everybody watching and listening after, thank you guys so much. We will see you next month for the September call, my birthday month, Pippa's birthday, my husband's birthday. So it's Virgo month.
Ooh,
Yes, very
yeah.
exciting. So thank you guys so much, Demetria. Thank you again. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.